bonds. A few days after they both died, I gradually started eating again. If I didn't eat, Suren would come to my room and stare at me, so I kind of had to eat. He's like, I'm not letting you die like that wildcat, woman. I've been thinking about this for a while, but it seems he's quite the worrier despite his appearance. After taking a hot bath, I looked at my body in the full-length mirror. I felt like I was in a poor condition, so I wrapped myself up looser than usual. I adjust the hem of my clothes, straighten my back, and recite my resolution in my heart. It's still too early to give up on life. I still have a lot of work to do in order to repay both their feelings. To put my resolution into action, I had 2 large bowls of rice this morning. I have a slight feeling that I'm eating too much, but when starting something, it's important to get in shape and have momentum. The body and mind are inextricably linked. With more power, you can do more effortlessly than you can now. All right. I slapped my cheeks to motivate myself. In a sense, tonight would be decisive for me. I wonder if he's still in his room. I walked down the moonlit corridor towards Suren's room. Since the disaster, things have been hectic for around Suren behind the scenes, so he was often out at night. I think things have settled down a bit. The truth was hidden secretly in the darkness. The cause of death for both Shalu and Naran was said to be an accident, and there was no incident. There must have been some who thought it was too much of a coincidence and doubted things internally. However, when pressured by the highest military ranks, they had no choice but to keep their mouths shut. With the support of King Toya, who seems to have been concerned about the impact, even the women now seem to want to forget about the incident. Those living in the residence would have known that Shalu was acting strangely, so they instinctively avoided getting involved in any trouble. I don't think it's being cold. Protecting yourself is a natural right. Just... I feel that it's sad. Maybe that's selfish of me. I mean, it is sad in a way because nobody knows the depth of their feelings, what sacrifices were made. Everyone's trying to distance themselves to try to protect themselves, understandably, but it is sad because those are people that were close to you. And no one will know the truth for the safety of many. Those 2 no longer exist in this world. I can't see them, talk to them, feel their warmth. Those facts often floated to the surface of my thoughts and punched holes in my mind. Each time I felt like crying, or actually cried, I reaffirmed my resolution. So there's no going back anymore. Yeah. I nodded to answer to my own question. I made a fist in front of my chest and regained my spirit. Rather than mourn, I need to do what I can do. No, first. As I was thinking, I saw the door to Suren's room. I'm nervous and throaty because I think there's a good chance I'm not going to be accepted. After all, what I'm going to propose to Suren is... What are you proposing? As I went to touch the door, I noticed that it was slightly open. Did he go out, perhaps? Disappointed, I peek inside. Huh? He's here after all. At the table by the window, Suren was looking up at the sky and sipping his cup. I wondered a bit, but then convinced myself that tonight is a full moon, so moonlight alone might be enough. All right, now or never. I pull back and take a deep breath before knocking on the door. Then I raised my hand as boldly as I could and swallowed my breath at the profile I glimpsed. There is no lamentation, no anger, nothing floating in his profile illuminated by the moonlight. It's almost an innocent expression, but for some reason it looked terribly sad. Suren. A big, dependable, silent back. His usually imposing and dignified appearance seemed lonely tonight. Perhaps I feel this way because the young man who'd normally be by his side isn't there. Suddenly, a hot feeling welled up from deep within my chest. The feelings that slowly overflowed into my heart became an impulse that moved my legs. I want to go up to him right now and snuggle against his back. The reason doesn't matter. I wanted to be at his side, the same way Suren had stayed by my side. Suren noticed me enter, but did not look at me. He silently looked up at the moon and sipped his drink. I remained silent and continued to sit next to him, listening to the insects. Ah. After a while, the bottom of the empty cup came into view. When Suren was about to pour more, I took the liquor bottle first and held it up lightly. And what came out naturally was a sincere, heartfelt smile. Allow me, husband. Suren stared at me intently and then held out his cup. During the pouring, no words are spoken to each other, and only the sound of the rubbing of garments echoes in the quiet room. How long had he been sitting there silently? As the moon passed the mid-sky, I heard a mutter spill out from beside me.
Apparently, the souls of the dead head for the moon.
Yeah. I heard that the souls who have finished their journey in this life will live with the spirits on the moon.
Is that why it's so beautiful?
Yeah. After responding, I suddenly heard a drop of water. It wasn't particularly cold, so condensation would be unusual. As I try to figure out the source, I get a lump in my throat. Oh, he's actually crying. Oh. Emotions are happening. Looking up at the moon, Suren stifles his voice, tears streaming down his face. Clear drops fall into the cup, trailing down his fearless cheeks and chin. Listening to the plopping sound, I poured more alcohol, daring not to turn my head to the side.
You drink too.
May I?
A married couple having drinks together is neither good nor bad.
Right. Upon receiving the offered cup, Suren tilted the liquor bottle this time. Thus, on a night with a full moon, drinking together in a quiet room, I feel like I'm attending a sacred ceremony. It's like you're drinking to Naran. Suren chuckled deep in his throat, perhaps feeling the same way. You're terrible. I was being all sweet and stuff, and you gotta go and make that face.
It's like a wedding ceremony.
We've only done the first night ceremony.
Sorry about that. I was kinda impatient.
You get impatient.
I'm human, after all.
I wasn't sure, since you're so strong and all.
Well, strength is my only talent.
You say that, but I know it's because you've worked yourself to the bone, haven't you? I found it oddly cute the way he sniffled as if embarrassed. If I said such a thing, he would probably sulk this time, so I stop at a small smile. Then, unexpectedly, my lips were stroked, and the tips of his fingers slid down my cheek. Suren mutters with a feeling of earnest.
I really don't want to break this bond.
Huh? When I tilted my head, not understanding what he meant, Suren looked away once, pretended to think, and then met my eyes.
There's a rule in this country that once a woman gives birth, she'll be married to a different man.
Oh! I mean, I can understand why there would be that rule. So you say... So he doesn't want to lose her. I mean, that's sweet. What do we do about that? Do the other women know about this rule, by the way?
It's one of the policies enacted since the outbreak of the rot, to ensure that Nasla has children. However, there are exceptions, and only aristocrats are exempt from this law.
Shut up. That is not why you wanted to become an aristocrat this entire time, is it? Suren, is this why you wanted to become an aristocrat this entire time? This is my first time hearing this.
It's the first time I said it.
You kept quiet because it had caused turmoil among the women.
If you want to call someone cowardly, it's me. Toya was trying to tell you all.
Oh, it wasn't the trio rule. It was this. That's what you stopped him from saying. Oh boy, this is kind of an important thing for everybody to know when they're making choices. Then why did you want to keep this quiet?
I thought it had nothing to do with me, as a future aristocrat. Honestly, I had no interest in any of the Roos women except for you.
Then why are you talking about it now? You don't think I'll tell the other women?
If you want to, go ahead.
Huh?
No. Even I am wondering about this system.
Suren is starting to question things?
To have one's marital bond broken by a will other than one's own is surely more painful than being slashed with a blade.
I wouldn't have imagined those words coming from you.
I'm surprised myself.
Is that the reason why you were particular about becoming an aristocrat?
Mostly, anyway.
I wasn't expecting such a reply. If true, he's a military man who's amazingly devoted to his wife. As my eyes widened and I was at a loss for words, Suren began to speak with a self-deprecating laugh.
My mother was a kidnapped woman like you, from a southern island.
I don't know the details because it was more than 20 years ago, but it is said that Nasla waged war against a certain southern island nation during the reign of the previous king. Maybe she was kidnapped during that time.
But she met my dad, fell in love, and gave birth to me. If there was a miscalculation, it was the outbreak of the rot afterwards.
Did your mom end up with a different man?
Yeah. My lineage isn't even close to that of an aristocrat, so of course the law was applied to my mother, and she was forced to marry a different man. My dad was a pretty unfeeling guy, so he probably gave her up without a fight.
Your mother must have been sad.
Probably. Disappointed, my mother ran away, saying she didn't want to be held by another man.
Did she escape?
Do you think a single woman can get past those guards?
Not likely.
Furthermore, the guard who tried to stop her messed up and killed her. As a result, my house was accused of being one that couldn't follow the rules, and my father took his anger out on me physically. He'd say, "My pride has been hurt thanks to your mother."
But that wasn't your fault.
In retrospect, my dad was a pretty miserable guy. He died in battle alone, never having truly loved anyone. I guess being raised by a guy like that messed with my senses. Why do I have to feel miserable over a woman who abandoned me, and a woman's fault? Somewhere in my heart, I held a grudge against all women.
Wow! I gotta admit, wasn't expecting this kind of backstory, nor Suren actually, having this introspective thoughts about his past and how it's shaped him into who he's become. I'm kind of amazed, not gonna lie. This is hella interesting.
It's a pathetic story. But I think I was trying to regain some of my lost pride by feeling like they were something that needed to be protected. But you know, women are stronger than men.
We're not strong. We're all weak.
Even with weaknesses, you are strong. Strong yet kind.
Perhaps due to the alcohol, Suren seemed more relaxed than usual as he talked while gazing at the distant moon. I've never seen him so vulnerable, like the walls have come down, or he's not keeping his distance. Thinking about several words, I arrived at one. Yeah. This might be the side of himself that he shows to his wife. Thinking about it, the back of my chest became strangely warm. Maybe it was happiness. In the emotions, I find the proof that I have become Suren's wife, and it makes me feel embarrassed.
I can understand my mother's feelings now. Having you taken away from me would be a fate worse than death.
It feels like he's hitting on me. Now, this is one of those moments where he's actually not hitting on you, but it's working for you because he's not trying to hit on you. Oh my goodness. But if I said that, this happy space would be destroyed, so I shut up and just looked at Suren's face from the side. Good job, Naala. As if drawn by my gaze, Suren turns to me. We've been intimate several times, and even shared the same bed. Despite that, why do I feel excited now? As I took a breath to calm my small heartbeat, a shadow suddenly fell in front of me. While I'm frozen in surprise, our lips meet and then quickly part. What?
It's a kiss, that's what.
I mean, I know that. He's only ever kissed me quite passionately, so this light kiss. I feel embarrassed, as if we're first-time lovers. I turned my hot face down, and this time a strong arm reached out and pulled my shoulders back. My body leaned to the side, and my head rested on his muscular shoulder. I was a little nervous as I listened to the voice falling from diagonally above me.
I'll be busy from now.
Can I ask what you intend to do?
I'm probably aiming for the same thing you are.
Did you know why I came here tonight?
Yeah, because it's you. I figured once you'd recovered, you'd try to set this continent straight. For those two.
Suren seemed to know that my original reason for coming here tonight was to ask for help in solving the fundamental problems that plague on this continent. In other words, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that I came to utilize Suren's influence, as he is the leader of the military. Even if I was coming here for a just reason, I felt he'd be justified if it left a bad taste in his mouth. That's why I was nervous before coming here. You always see through everything.
Who do you think I am?
Yeah, you're the strongest military commander, right? No, he's your husband.
No, I'm your husband. I know what my wife is thinking at least.
You're embarrassing.
Yeah, maybe.
Whoa, hello. Ah! Hello.
And to react so simply just by getting close like this. You're pretty embarrassing.
Suddenly, just as I was aware of him thrusting his hands into my sides, in the next moment I was sitting on Suren's lap. Jeez, I was having a serious conversation. What are you thinking? I made an amazed face, and Suren laughed from his nose and nibbled on my ears.
When you make a cute face like that, I can't stand it and have to hold you.
I didn't make such a face.
You did, which is why you're here now.
He hugged me as if to say, "What are you going to do about it?" And my face got hot. As I twisted in embarrassment, several light kisses fell on me like little birds pecking.
Naala.
The next kiss went deeper as my palate was licked wetly. You and your palate, girl. Saliva, which tastes of alcohol, mixes between the tongues. With these repeated kisses, as if confirming the taste, my mind gradually became hazy. Well... hi, Toya. It's been a while. Whoops!
Suren, did you call me here tonight to show off your couple activities?
Ah! Why is Toya here? Thinking about the embarrassment of having this lewd scene be witnessed, I let out a scream-like voice. I stood up with a bounce and hurriedly adjusted my robe. It's embarrassing. So embarrassing that I could die.
Huh. You're already here. I came right at the appointed time. You could have waited until we finished. Is that okay? What if I, listening to the lustful voice of your lovely bride, excited something in me?
Shut up! Shut up, Toya! Shut up!
That corridor is too cold for enjoying yourself.
Kings aren't supposed to make such dirty jokes.
Even kings are men.
Toya, you're scaring me. I was looking forward to your route, and now I'm like, uh-oh, he's got a naughty side to him.
If you touch her, even in your imagination, I'll kill you.
Oh god, this guy's here too. Wonderful.
My. You are quite shameless as usual to go through the trouble to call the king and his political assistant to witness your love affairs.
Noel coming out as well. This is no minor thing. I'll bring a new bottle of alcohol. As I tried to leave the room, observing the situation, Toya blocked my way and slightly shook his head.
No, you stay here.
But...
Tonight is a memorable night, when Suren and I have finally partnered up for real. You have the right to be here, as you're the one who created this opportunity.
Oh? With the two of them showing up here, I had some idea of what was going on. Suren probably decided to work together with the king to solve the issues. And that decision must deviate significantly from the current policies. That's why the political assistant, Noel, is also here. Did you come to talk about the women?
More specifically, we've come here to solve the issues of the continent as a whole. Beyond that. No matter how much I may want it, my power alone isn't enough to change things. But things are different now. I have the strongest allies, in Noel and Suren. And I also have you. A valuable ally who, with the spirit of Rus, can think about the continent as a whole. Even though I've put you through some terrible hardships. And I know how this sounds, coming from me, but I'm hoping for an alliance with Rus.
Alliance?
For example, instead of bringing women here by force, women could live in Nasla by their own choosing, with permission. In return, we could send an appropriate compensation to Rus.
I can't believe this. I literally commented on this, like, I said this in a reply to somebody in the comment section not that long ago. Like, couldn't they make a thing where they, like, women can decide if they go, and then, you know, Nasla can just compensate Rus with some kind of thing that they need? And I was just like, this is just spitballing. And then Toya's like, yeah, no, that's a good idea, girl. Let's do that. I am a genius.
And on the contrary, Nasla men could also live in Rus if they so desired.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. I like that addition, though, to my idea. That Nasla men could go to Rus. So, like, their bloodline is still continuing, but they haven't taken the women from their home. They're going to Rus instead. You know, I like that a lot.
Rus is now facing a shortage of men due to the pains of war. If you think about that without getting emotional, it makes sense. If the interests of both parties are aligned, the new law will have a better chance of being implemented successfully.
I was taken aback by the sudden and concrete proposal. A lot of things are happening tonight. I thought that tonight, at best, we'd be talking about intentions. I knew that Toya didn't like the current policies from the start, but I didn't think he'd thought ahead this far. However, there's always the risk that someone with money troubles will forcefully marry off their daughter.
Rather, isn't it rare to marry someone other than a suitor that the parents have decided on? I wonder how many women in your country marry out of love. According to rumor, a certain someone was also set to wed a suitor that had been decided by their parents.
Oh. You know? No. I know you just showed up after a long while and said, like, 2 things. But I had not picked up on... I hadn't really thought about that. I didn't know that, like, arranged marriage by parents was, like, the norm in Rus. I thought that was just for our girl because she was, like, part of the royal family. But if that's the case, it's starting to make a lot more sense why the women were a little more, like, you know, it ain't so bad here. At least I get to decide who I'm marrying, and I'm not betrothed to somebody that my parents decided on that I may not even like. So, like, with that in mind, now things are starting to make a little more sense with, like, oh, this is why some of the women are like, yeah, I'm down, actually. Okay, thank you, Noel.
Noel, both I and her disagree with that opinion. If we want to normalize diplomatic relations, we shouldn't start with such sad, forced relations. You'd never be able to gain the trust of your wife like some idiot we know.
Damn! Got him. What is doing Noel's route gonna be like? Are we actually gonna marry that guy? I have so many questions about that in the future.
And who would that idiot be? Putting that aside, enacting the new law will require careful discussion. On the contrary, we have to consider setting restrictions so that Rus doesn't run out of women.
Toya's looked ahead and been like, oh, those women are gonna, like, flock here. And then Rus is gonna be like, we got no men and no women. What the... What is that word? Gerontocracy? Is that what that's... Oh, I've never heard of that before. Hold on. I gotta look at what gerontocracy is. Is that even a thing? Hold on. Must Google. Le Google. O-N. It is a word. Gerontocracy is a state, society, or group governed by old people. That's great! Government based on rule by old people. Like geriatric? Is that the idea? That's wonderful. I've learned a new word today.
I wonder if our country's gerontocracy, pardon me, if our assembly will allow such concessions.
If you weigh the benefits against the disadvantages, and show them that the benefits are far outweighed by the disadvantages, they won't complain. It's your job to gather the information for that.
This is quite the rewarding job, given that each and every task is quite difficult.
Glad to hear it. It's good to have goals in life.
Since there are so many differences of opinion on the same policy, it is likely that discussions between the 2 countries will be more difficult. Even if an alliance is made, it will be a while before things settle down in Nasla. As I watch their interaction, I anticipate the rough waters that lie ahead. While not a battle, it would undoubtedly cause an uproar throughout the continent. As I was pondering this, Toya, who had returned to his serious face, stepped closer and took my hand.
Naala, I know this is a terrible thing to ask, but I will. Would you please become a bridge between our two countries?
I'm just an ordinary girl. I don't think I have the power to be one of your allies.
No, rather, you are the key right now.
Huh?
Your position is the most important measure for the king's desired alliance with Rus. Without it, it's difficult to imagine our countries joining hands.
My position. I'd like to think otherwise, but were you waiting for me to accept having become Suren's wife?
Yes. You may not be motivated to work for the enemy, but if for the homeland of your beloved, you would choose to save both countries, would you not?
As usual, that beautiful face doesn't suit your true ugliness.
Use whatever you can, be it mind or body. This is not an era where everything can be solved using beautiful methods. I suspect you know that much.
I'm against putting her out there. If it doesn't go well, Rus will end up resenting her.
That's quite the convenient thing for you to say, Suren. Given how savvy you are, I'm sure you've already gathered information, so you know that she
Is the king's sister. I knew that from the start.
I knew Suren was smart enough. No way. Then why didn't you say anything?
I didn't want a princess. I just wanted to marry you. I didn't care about your status.
Suren.
And how do you propose we form an alliance without her cooperation?
I, the military commander, will go there in the king's name. If the highest-ranking military officer goes to personally bow down to the king, it will save face over there.
That's unreasonable!
I am forced to agree. Would you be going to be killed?
I'm not trying to commit suicide. I said it because I thought it'd be the most effective. If we mobilize the army, they may become wary. Who said anything about mobilizing? I'd be going on my own.
What?
Don't be stupid. You would be going to your death.
He's not wrong. Him going would be effective, but... As Noel and Toya said, in the worst-case scenario, he'd be killed in retaliation for the war.
Is there merit for you in going that far?
Yeah, plenty. To create peace for my child that she's going to give birth to.
I still don't have plans to...
Then let's do it tonight. Good timing.
I'll punch you.
If you're that prepared, I'll believe in you and trust you with my letter of intent.
I cannot agree to this unless she accompanies him.
I'm with Noel on this. I think they have a better chance of success if they both go.
That's surprising. I thought you'd jump for joy if I died.
What's with this delicate topic now? I alone am flabbergasted, remembering the rumors that circulated during the breakout of the Ravenous Beasts. Oh yeah, what happened with the Ravenous Beasts? We never did find out who was responsible for that. On the other hand, the two men seemed accustomed to it and traded sarcastic barbs.
Your personality aside, I appreciate your abilities. We cannot afford to lose a natural treasure. I do not want to cause any further harm to our military.
You were pretty quiet when all the bloodthirsty guys around me got eaten by that monster, weren't you?
I suppose you could say that. Well, I suppose it's the law of nature that those who make useless movements will be hunted.
You know, I worry that one day you'll be hunted too.
Thank you for your concern. However, you needn't worry, as I will not do such a foolish thing.
You two are really close.
I respect Toya for being able to end it like that.
At any rate, I have given my opinion. For you as well, young missus, I pray that you will make wise choices.
Although spoken politely, the content is close to threatening. As I smiled wryly in a stunned manner, Toya patted my shoulder as if he were concerned.
Despite what I said earlier, I leave the final decision to you. I won't blame you, no matter which way you choose.
Thanks. I will think about it.
Well then, I hope the two of you will rest well.
Why didn't you say anything about having called the two of them here?
You'd understand once they came.
You really are.
What?
Despite always being so cunning, he's sloppy in these areas. Because it's too reckless of an idea to go to an enemy country by yourself. It's too extreme. Hey, are you serious?
You think I was joking?
I'm against it.
Then are you saying you'll come with me?
I wonder why you think I wouldn't.
For me?
I'm not going to tell the person who didn't tell me about Toya and Noel coming.
What's that? Say it now.
No. If I do, you'll refuse me coming with you. So, it's not for you. I'll go with you for my sake, and for the future of my country and the continent.
Do you think I'm the kind of guy who'd be happy putting his own wife in danger?
Do you think I'm the kind of woman who'd be able to wait quietly at home?
You're a troublesome woman.
And that's why you love me, right?
I won't tell someone who doesn't listen to me.
It can't be helped. We are a similar couple, after all.
Well, that is right.
There wasn't a signal or anything like that, but we naturally held hands and looked up at the sky. Stop. I believe that the feelings we put towards the full moon are the same.